All right. So this is gonna be a fun one. We have Scott with us from Dot Wallet on Handshake, and it's a exciting July 4th campaign for the Dot Wallet extension to go live.
Yeah,
So excited! I'm super excited. How are you feeling, Scott?
I'm very stoked about this. I think this is going to be big, and that's what we're trying for.
For sure, for sure. So I have a few questions to just go through and just understand the story. So, I mean, you've been in since the earliest days before I was involved or knew about Handshake. Do you want to just share your story of how you heard about Handshake and got involved?
Yeah, sure. So, really, I discovered Handshake when I was looking for a fully decentralized domain naming system that could be like done on the blockchain. And when I started researching that, Handshake popped up immediately as sort of the project that was kind of tackling that whole area. So I liked the idea, and I wanted to go all in on it. So I thought, well, how can I do that? And really, what I wanted to do was something like Twitter, right? Because Twitter is a case where everybody's got an ID on Twitter, and the company Twitter could have easily said, okay, rather than basically forcing everybody's ID into like a centralized platform, we're just going to allow it to have mike.twitter.com and scott.twitter.com and all these other things. And yeah, you would have had your own little Twitter website, but it wouldn't have had the value that it has in like transforming something that you can centralize. And in the case of Handshake, doing that while it's decentralized, if that makes sense.
Got it. Yeah. No, I mean, I have similar attraction to the protocol too. And so, yeah, so Dot Wallet is a great one. Do you want to share how that went? The auctions or the way you got the extension?
Sure. Well, that's actually what I had in mind with Twitter. Is I thought if you could have a wallet where it truly was decentralized, like it was untouchable and uncensorable, and you could have people send and receive cryptocurrency to and from names. So Mike could send to Scott, or Scott could send to Mike, this type or that type of thing. That would be really cool. And wallets was sort of the target for that project. I wanted wallet as soon as I got into Handshake. So I sort of targeted it for that, and waited for it to come up on the auction block, and picked up some other names, while I was waiting, and flipped a few of them.
Cool.
And when it finally came up, I went all in. I took everything I owned and poured it into that one auction, and I got lucky. I guess anybody can say that about the name they won. They got lucky.
For sure, for sure. It's really cool. I know. Congrats on the name. And so now, yeah, like to get into what we're talking about today I know we've had some calls and sessions over the years in the community of your journey, and now you're releasing them for just a dollar each, which doesn't even go to you at all. So I'd love to hear the story of how you came to this decision and your strategy. We can talk about strategy after, but yeah, like, so now they're going out for a dollar each registration, which is what's the thought there?
Yeah. So what happened was, as soon as I won the wallet auction, I put up a site for it, and it was at www.wallet. And I started, going to work on building a back-end infrastructure for it. And I built some some Power DNS servers, and I built some, MySQL servers, and had a whole backend, setup going on there. And I was able to add myself as a subdomain, second level domain, like Scott, wallet.wallet, and I could send myself some crypto, and while I was working on the actual application. Okay. And while I was doing that, I thought Handshake as a whole kind of needs something to jumpstart it. And I thought, why don't instead of me like collecting individual names for wallet to add into the infrastructure, instead of me doing that in onesies and twosies fashion, why don't I open it up to a registrar, and we'll get everybody an ID.
Cool.
And we'll make it whatever they want. I mean, I'm not going to reserve 10,000 names or 100,000 names, or it's hard to do that, because if you say we're going to reserve, these Alexa 100K, well, what do you say to the one that's 100,001?
True.
You're not important. I mean, there's no good way to do it, and everybody's going to have a different idea of what the best way to do it is. And I also thought, I don't really think these companies care about Handshake anyways, because if they did, they would at least do something to claim their names. To me, that was the biggest, that they don't care, or they have no interest, which is fine. That's great. Hey, more for us to play in the sandbox with. So when I thought about it, and I thought, how do I get, people to do that? I thought, I don't want to profit off of this. This is not a profit seeking thing for me. If I could give them away for free, I definitely would. However, the registrar, they have bills to pay, and they have personnel that need to maintain those Power DNS servers and MySQL database. So I kind of targeted Gateway, because I think that James Stevens is just one of the nicest, coolest guys you'll ever meet. So yes, I'm plugging him, and I'm plugging Gateway here.
Sure.
So kind of, reached out to him and said, I had this idea. This is what I want to do. He was like, that's cool. Let's go for it. I was like, I don't want to charge anybody anything though. Let's give them away. And then we kind of covered some of the impracticalities of doing that, for the reasons I mentioned. So he normally doesn't go down to $1. But in this case, he made an exception, and to try and get him there, I offered to let him keep 100% of the costs of administrating it and managing it on the back end. So usually when you put your domain name up, and for them to stake for you, and you sell SLDs to other people, they take, I don't remember if it's 30%. I want to say 30%. They take 30%. You get to keep 70%. But that's when it's $10 or $100. And so in this case, for $1, he probably wouldn't have been interested in doing it for 30 cents a name. And I don't blame them. I understand. I understand it does cost money. So I just said, you keep the whole $1, and let's just go for $1. And he was cool with it. It's like, yeah, man, let's do it.
Awesome.
So we decided to come up with a day then, what's the perfect day? And we said, well, I think July 4th, Independence Day, even though I didn't realize, it took me a minute to think well, that was when we were declaring independence from his home country. So I didn't.
Yeah, he's in the UK.
Apologies for that. Didn't mean, for it to come across that way. But he's cool, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do it. So July 4th at 6 p.m. London time, it goes up, and people can start claiming their wallet names.
It's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I'll be up for that. I think a few others. That's what we're trying to get with today's announcement and video. I'm really excited about that. And of course, so you said there's no, yeah, it's really truly unbelievable. But I do think you're still going to be building on it, right? You have, I know you mentioned your
Yes.
wallet, so you're going to make an application for those users that have the names.
Yeah. Yes. And that was sort of why I did this, because I'm going to need those users anyway, whether I collect them or whether, a registrar collects them. It just speeds up the process by having him do it. So yes, we will do an application for it. And there's one thing I wanted to mention about this. One of the intricacies of this operation,
Okay,
and
please.
that is we're doing a multi-sig on the name itself. So in other words, the custodialship changes from me solely to me, James Stevens or Gateway, and Matt Zipkin.
Okay.
As like a neutral third party. So the three of us collectively have signed, ownership of wallet into, like, I guess you could call it like a virtual trust fund.
Yeah. Or maybe a DAO, I guess, somewhat, but I'm not. DAO sounds cooler these days, maybe, but yeah, like it's like a trust or so then all three have to agree to or would have to sign it, or is it 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay. Got it. Thanks for sharing the insights. I really appreciate it. I think this is, we're that's what we try to do here. This will be on a SkyInclude channel. We try to be, sharing. Of course, there's a lot of Handshake other TLD owners and people learning, and of course SLD buyers, and we're trying to share the journey. I think it's worth bringing up, and I know we have our opinions. We chatted about this, but I think unstoppable domains people here might be asking like, well, somebody might have bought a dot wallet on Unstoppable. I think that is an extension on Unstoppable, right? So I don't know. I could explain it. I don't know if you want to hand. I could give my explanation. I don't know if you want to share what your thoughts are on Unstoppables.
Yeah, sure. I think it's great what they're doing. And when I first started hearing about it or looking into it, there's really nothing you can do to keep anyone or any company or any individual even from starting a top level domain registry on a blockchain. You can just bring up a new blockchain. You can just basically copy a blockchain that already exists, and you could put it out there and start it. And it's possible that 10 years from now, there'll be 1,000 different, top level registrars, on blockchains. Can't do anything about it. And, I think probably from a business standpoint, it would be kind of cool to maybe do something cross-chain. So in other words, you're right. Whatever they're doing, their wallet is not my wallet. My wallet is not their wallet. But it might be cool someday to be able to have Mike from Unstoppable Domains send money to Scott at Handshake, right? So you could have somebody on one wallet send crypto to somebody by name on another wallet.
Yeah.
So there's possibilities. And then I don't know, maybe I don't know what the logistics of that would look like programmatically. But there's potential there. I mean, there's possibilities. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what they have going on is not what we're giving away. Not giving away what we're selling $1 names on. People who want to do their site are going to have to pay whatever they're asking for.
Yeah, and they definitely reserve names, and there's various debates about their business practices. But anyway, let's move forward on that. Thanks for clarifying there. And then it's a yearly renewal of $1. Is that, I mean, less to, I don't know. So it's a $1 to register, and it all goes to the registrar, not even to you, which is very generous of you. And then
Sure.
you're keeping it $1 renewal, so for a year, which is of course, I think it's the lowest ever, domain that I know of. We talked about that before, but that's really amazing. So
We
okay.
just want to welcome people. I mean, please come in. Just if I could give it to you for free, I would give it to you for free. But the registrar is making me charge $1. So I mean,
Got it.
still $1. Where else can you get an SLD for $1?
Exactly. And yeah, like I know that's why we're trying to do this video. We're trying to help promote it because we want distribution, right? Of course, people can register more than one. There's probably gonna be people that I think you and I agree there'll be somebody that tries to buy a whole block of them, but we're hoping to get some distribution. So that's one reason, I'm interested to help. Of course, there's a bunch of reasons, but hopefully everybody here, just pick up one, even one, right? And the idea is tell your friends and get involved in this opportunity. So I think that's the main points. I guess unless you have something else to add, I guess we can wrap it up. Like, what's your vision? What do you see in the future of like Handshake or the decentralized internet?
Well, Handshake definitely plays a role because, as I told somebody else in another project that I'm involved in, we were talking about what does DWeb mean, and Web3, and what I told them is you're not on the decentralized web if I can take your site down. So right there, I mean, Handshake sort of seems to be the targeted solution or the the way to mitigate that threat right there. So it definitely plays a role there. Will it take over the internet? No, nothing ever does. But I think it can carve out a niche for itself, and get in early. I think it can get in early doing that. Sort of the way Tor has carved out, a little niche for itself, or Onion, the Onion sites. They sort of got their own little corner of the web. I think for Handshake, it can be the same thing, only hopefully with not as with content that doesn't have the reputation that some of those Tor and Onion sites have.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Well, it's already getting, I think I know there's so much more to go with Handshake, and I know both of you and I think I'll speak for myself, but I'm getting a little bit anxious to want more adoption. But there has been, Namecheap has been super supportive, which has been great to see. They I don't know if you heard, just before the interview, I just saw they chipped in $22K for that Opera integration from their side, which is amazing. And then I saw some great people registering more SLDs on their platform. Obviously, they have a huge distribution, so there's lots of amazing things I think still happening. And I really, I want to thank you from my side for doing what you do and getting this wallet out there. I think it's maybe never a perfect time, right? But once, a lot of people, even myself, are still waiting. Like I have some TLDs I think will be good, but maybe later. But it's great that you're getting it out there, and I think that's the right way. And I hope this video helps, and I'll be sharing out on social media and everything as it gets closer to the launch, 6 p.m. UK time, July 4th, which is, I think, your morning in the Pacific, and like I think it's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Like we'll go off of UK time, 6 p.m. We'll put on a page here. So
yeah, so I think it's 10 p.m. Pacific or 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm sorry, and yes, I am in the beautiful Seattle area.
Great.
Please visit, if you're out here. And I'd like to ask, what do you see? Where do you see Handshake in a year?
Okay, turn it around. Thank you. For me, I'll be a little bit honest. I'm a little bit frustrated. It's been slower than I think maybe seems like I thought it would be a little bit faster in adoption, but it's still early, like you said. I'm super happy Namecheap has embraced it so much as a number 2 registrar, in the Web 2, and I do see some positive movements in the community. I guess in 1 year from now, like next July 4th, I think what's going to happen is people might not know what Handshake is. I think I saw that in one of these, somebody I talked to. People don't know what Handshake is. People see a Namecheap domain or a domain.wallet. They don't know it's Handshake, right? They just say, oh, I want a .wallet domain, right? They don't need to know what Handshake is. And I think we understand TLDs, but I think a lot of people don't understand as a base TLD platform. So I see in a year from now, people will be more and more, like, honestly, we did a Flamingo Handshake auction. We have these monthly ones. I had a lot of kind of regular domain people messaging me on Twitter privately saying, oh, we sold pixel.c, or, what did this one, they didn't even ask about the TLDs. They were asking about the sales of the SLDs. Like, I think still most people are stuck on SLD, in their mind as a domain. They don't get, it's such a, like, a TLD is so big, as you know, right? Like, obviously .wallet, it's a huge opportunity. Most people never, with ICANN's traditional system, you need a huge amount of money for application and maintenance. So I see the movement to SLD and Handshake, and I see so many people talk about .eth on Twitter, right? The ENS domains. I think once we get more and more of this SLD, I'm going to start to add in the Flamingo Handshake auctions. We're going to add more and more SLDs. We're going to move to SLDs on Handshake. So I think that will, especially with .wallets coming out, I'm sure maybe we'll even start helping sell some .wallets in the auctions. I see more marketplaces coming of selling SLDs. I think Namecheap will be adding SLD sales of Handshake names soon. So I think once all these kind of, there's people that know about Handshake but say it's too niche or too technical, but it's basically because not many people know what it is to own a TLD, right? I don't know how many people own TLDs in ICANN, right? I'm not sure how many unique owners, because I know a few of those TLDs are owned by one organization or a handful. So it's very niche TLD ownership, right? And really all a TLD owner does is not only, but they stake it, right? Or they root it, or they whatever, or they distribute it. So I think the way I see it in 1 year is most people will be talking about SLDs. I think they'll be talking about SLDs, which is still Handshake, although, it's not the core Handshake of TLDs. But once people start seeing like all these amazing .wallet domains that are going to be register, once people start seeing the .c's going, all these other ones going, I think then it will make more sense to people, right? Like, people don't understand a TLD. That's my basically, I see in 1 year, we're going to be talking a lot more about SLDs, I think, which is still Handshake, but I see next year is SLD talk, SLD auctions, SLD buying and selling, SLD usernames. I do hope it becomes more like you say, like a payment address, a username. I think that's a little bit easier. That's what ENS domains is doing more. ENS is more trying to be your username. They're not trying to be a traditional domain name. I even read some tweet yesterday, and somebody says, yeah, ENS domains are not trying to be domains. We're trying to be usernames on the Web3. I think that's an easier thing than trying to get into Opera browser, which we've been discussing, getting into Brave browser, because it's just, I hope we do, but it seems like those two tracks. There's one way is websites, one way is username. I think a lot of people will be using username, in the next year.
I think that sort of the one that we sort of overlooked and haven't really focused on as a whole is other crypto projects.
True.
Like, I'm involved in some projects that are run by nodes, right? They're all node-based projects, and these nodes have to talk to each other and talk back to like a centralized location, like the home place. And man, I mean, it's screaming, because right now it's such a complicated process of assigning licenses to nodes, and they record it at the headquarters, and then you type this thing into your node in this certain file, and then it like, talks back to the, headquarters one and to the super node. And I was thinking, man, this would be so much easier if all of these nodes just had Handshake integrated with them, and they could all just be given names on a domain,
Yeah.
on a Handshake domain. And you would put the, the lightweight resolver, into them, and
Yeah.
they're not beholden then to ICANN anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I wish I was more technical, but I know that there's a huge update Zipkin did to make it lightweight, even more lightweight. And I like that you said lightweight, because I think that's the vision of Handshake. I know some people want SLDs on the chain and more stuff on chain, but I think the point is it's supposed to be super lightweight. So like you said, you can install it easily onto nodes and more easily. So I know that the size requirement is coming down soon for HSD. Actually, he'll be coming on the channel in a couple of days, so he'll be sharing more of that. I'm not as technical, but I agree. Yeah, it's true. Honestly, the other thing we saw is a lot of these traditional Web 2 domains are getting hacked by seems like it's more about social engineering, where the hacker is able to get through to the registrar to update DNS records for them, I feel, and then hacking the customers, because there are all these DeFi projects. And it's kind of hypocritical that a DeFi project doesn't use decentralized domains or decentralized hosting, right? If they're on DeFi. So I think more of that has to move to these kind of systems. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
lots of amazing things. So thanks so much, Scott, for sharing it. I think it'll help people understand the story, and it'll be great. We're gonna put this on the blog and get this out there. So thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and I can't wait for this to happen. I'm so excited about
This is
this.
super exciting. It's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, it'll shake things up and get some people active. I'm gonna pick up a few. I'm already thinking of them. It's like, I guess, it seems like at exactly that time you just start putting in your searches and registering. So yeah, it'll be great.
Sometimes chaos is needed.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks, Scott, again.
All right, thank you.